Today, I am going to read Teaching Mrs. Muddle. Let's begin. Teaching Mrs. Muddle by Colleen Nelson. Illustrated by Alice Carter. Wow, look at all those colorful letters. Teaching Mrs. Muddle. What if I get lost? I whispered to Mom. It was the first day of kindergarten. What if I couldn't find the bathroom? Or missed her so much I started to cry. The teacher said, "Welcome, kindergarteners. I'm Mrs. Muddle." I held Mom's hand even tighter. Mrs. Muddle handed out some name tags. Mom looked down at mine and laughed. "Oh, you made a mistake. This is Kyla, not Jeremy." It took a while to sort out the name tags. Then Mrs. Muddle opened the front doors and we followed her down the hall to the classroom. Mrs. Muddle told us it was time to say goodbye to our parents. "Don't worry," she whispered. "They'll be okay without you." Mom didn't look ready to say goodbye. I didn't know what she'd do without me all day. Inside the classroom, Mrs. Muddle was reading my favorite book, the one I knew by heart. She was making all kinds of mistakes. I gave Mom my best brave face and went to help Miss Muddle read the book properly. "Time for a tour of the school," said Mrs. Muddle. "First stop is where you get to run and skip and throw balls." I knew which room that was. I loved running and skipping and throwing. We stood in a line and went to the... "Look, kids," said Mrs. Muddle. "Mrs. Zhang made a bookshelf obstacle course." I looked at all the books. "Isn't this the library?" I asked. "The gym is where you get to run." Mrs. Muddle snapped her fingers. "Right, thank you, Kyla. We'll go there after the music room." That sounded good to me. I liked singing almost as much as I liked running. Mrs. Muddle opened the door. There weren't any instruments, just kids sitting at desks. Someone was tapping a pencil. "Let's clap to the beat," she said. "Mrs. Muddle," I whispered, "this isn't the music room. That's my neighbor. He's in 5th grade." Mrs. Muddle backed out slowly and apologized to the teacher. "One room I can't mix up is the bathroom," Mrs. Muddle declared. But it turned out she could. She stopped 3 times to ask people for directions. When we finally found it, it wasn't the bathroom at all. "Mrs. Muddle, maybe you should let me handle this. But it's your first day. You might even get lost." Even on my first day, I didn't think I'd get more lost than Mrs. Muddle. Getting around the school wasn't as tricky as I thought. The teachers we passed said hello and pointed me in the right direction. Some rooms were easy to find, like the office and the real gym. "Look, kids, it's the phys ed teacher, Mr. Blue," said Mrs. Muddle. "You mean Mr. Brown," he said, and gave us high fives. Before we could play tag, we had to learn the gym rules. Everyone followed them except for Miss Muddle. We stopped our game to help her clean up. Thanks, Mr. Black, she said. Where to next, Kyla? I was about to look for the real music room when a bell rang. Kids stamped out of the classrooms and filled up the hallway. What's going on? Mrs. Muddle asked. The big kids went out the front doors, carrying balls and skipping ropes. That's when I figured it out. It's recess. By the time we put on our outdoor shoes, the big kids were coming back inside. We had the whole playground to ourselves. I showed Mrs. Muddle how to swing and use a slide the right way. Everyone was having fun until Jeremy fell. I'm bleeding, he cried. Stay calm, Miss Muddle said. Psst, what do we do? She whispered to me. Luckily, I knew. I spied a jar of bandages in the office. Phew! Who's ready for snack time? Mrs. Muddle asked when we got back to the classroom. She made another mistake and gave us pudding at the art center. We practiced our letters and ate our snack at the same time. Ring, ring, ring. Before I knew it, the bell rang for the end of the day. How was your first day? Mom asked. Great, I said. I'd been so busy making new friends and showing Miss Muddle around the school, I hadn't missed Mom at all. I just had one question. Mom, are you sure Miss Muddle is ready to teach kindergarten? Mom smiled. Oh, I think she knows just what she's doing. The end. Thank you, friends. I hope you liked this video.
For more videos, please subscribe. Thank you.